How's it going, everybody? It is I, Visual. I hope you guys are having a beautiful day, and welcome back to another Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon Wi-Fi battle versus Kevin over here in the OU tier. So if you do enjoy these, make sure to leave a like on it, show your support, and the team I'm using is in the description if you want to try it out, made by opjellicent. So gonna lead off with my Mega Glalie as it leads off with the Aim-a-Palm. Gonna switch into my Landorus T as its Rocky Helmet, and intimidates the Aim-a-Palm as well. It's my physical wall. And Aim-a-Palm is usually a physical attacker, so that's why I predict it to probably want to go for a physical move. And it goes for Fake Out, does a little bit of chip damage to me, it gets Rocky Helmet damage on itself, and then I get Stealth Rocks up as he switches into Swampert. So luckily he's not Technician hitting for Ice, Aim-a-Palm. That would have bopped me right there. Now you turn on the Swampert as it's just going to go for an Ice Punch as I bring in my Hoopa Unbound. And Hoopa Unbound is Choice Specs, and it is a pretty good wall breaker. It can break through a lot of things, but unfortunately the Swampert does live my Choice Specs Dark Pulse, and then it knocked me out with the Waterfall. If only I was Choice Banded, maybe I could knock out the Swampert. I don't know. Choice Specs, Choice Banded. Either or. Swampert seems to be running some special defense. So, gonna break in my Mega Glalie, and it's just gonna fire off a return. I love Mega Glalie. I've used it in Draft League so many times, and I think it's one of the best Megas to have, at least on a team, because it's really good at breaking. Even though it is weak to rocks, obviously, and it is lower tiered in, I think, the RU tier? Maybe even lower than that. I think it's an NU now or something like that. Maybe it got banned. Either way, in comes the Charizard Y. It takes Stealth Rock damage, and it is Speed Tie if he is running max speed, but I win the Speed Tie, so it doesn't matter, and I knock out his Charizard Y. In comes his Heatran, and lo and behold, I am packing the Earthquake on Glalie. That's why Glalie is really awesome. It also has spikes as well. So, Heatran goes down to the Earthquake. I guess he never really saw Mega Glalie, at least in the OU tier, and he doesn't know that it learns Earthquake. Or maybe he was trying to bluff him being Choice Scarf. Either way, in comes the Aim-a-Palm. I'm going to switch up because I don't want to take a Fake Out, and I'm just going to go into Landorus T, as Landorus T is my pretty much dedicated switch into Aim-a-Palm. Unless it's going to be packing in Power Ice, and that's going to really catch me off guard. But it looks like maybe it's not. So now he switches out into Mimikyu, which is not really too much of a threat versus Landorus T, because I can just U-turn and break its Disguise, which I pretty much can always do, and just intimidate him and bring back Landorus T always. Unless it's going to be Z move Mimikyu, Mimikyu Z Swords Dance, and then that can maybe knock out Landorus T from the range I'm at. Either way, I brought in Glalie, and it's going to be able to outspeed the Mimikyu and just one-shot it. So Mimikyu wasn't even a threat. It came in, got its Disguise broken, and then down it goes to the Mega Glalie. So now in comes Aim-a-Palm again. It's getting whittled down every single time it comes in by Stealth Rocks, and chipped away at by that Rocky Helmet. I didn't even touch this Aim-a-Palm, and it's already almost gone. That is just insane to think about. So he actually goes for U-turn right there, I guess expecting Landorus to want to come out and not my Mega Glalie to stay in, but either way, he takes Rocky Helmet, so I don't know, maybe he should have just hard switched. Either way, in comes the Venusaur. It is actually a Black Slot? No, leftover set. So it's a bulky Venusaur. I don't know how I feel about that, especially with the Charizard Y. I would feel like an offensive Venusaur would be a little bit better. Maybe his offensive leftovers, I guess we'll see, but nope, he just goes for Toxic. So I guess it was just some bulky Venusaur. Maybe just to get Chlorophyll and to be a fast, bulky Venusaur, my guess would be. That could be pretty cool, like Leech Seed and substitute like a bulky Superior. Anyway, it doesn't matter because Mega Glalie comes in and it's going to be able to outspeed, knock out the Venusaur, and yeah, Aim-a-Palm is going to be the last Pokemon, and you already know it cannot break through Landorus T, so it is going to go and pretty much get knocked out by a shard either way because he didn't even go for Fake Outs and try and do some little bit of chip damage to my Mega Glalie. And that's going to be a GG versus Kevin. So next up we got is versus Gavin over here, and looking at his team. He has a lot of potential threats, like potential Mega Scizor, Mega Gyarados, probably Z-move Gyarados looking at it. But either way, a lot of Pokemon could be the Mega, like Tyranitar as well. Even Garchomp, but nobody really runs that, so I'm just going to lead off with Landorus T, as Landorus T looks pretty nice versus him. Leads up well versus a lot of his Pokemon as he leads off with the Scizor. Nice Intimidate on that bad boy. And yeah, I'm pretty much free to get Stealth Rocks up. Nothing really he can do about that unless he has a fast Scizor and he... Does Scizor even learn Taunt? I don't think so. There's no way he's going to stop Stealth Rocks. So in comes the Gyarados. That's obviously threatening my Landorus as I don't want to take a Water move. So I'm going to go into Tapu Fini as it's going to be my Gyarados check. Unless I don't want to take a Flying Z to the face. So he just throws off a safe Waterfall, and Tapu Fini takes that pretty dang well. Max HP, max speed Tapu Fini with Moonblast, Nature's Madness, Taunt. So it's pretty nice. And I think Defog on here as well. So I just go for Nature's Madness, just does damage to everything. And also, if he I guess, want to stay in like he does, and to Dragon Dance still does damage, like I said, half of HP from everything. So I throw off a Moonblast over here. Unfortunately, the Gyarados does take that. Pretty bulky Gyarados, but it doesn't matter because I guess he doesn't have Flying MC on his Gyarados, he just has Waterfall. And maybe it's Taunt, Waterfall, Dragon Dance, Substitute, something like that. Either way, it's going to go down to the Moonblast, and also I was faster than his Gyarados as well. So that's a 1 slow Gyarados, either way. Plus 1 speed, like he must be running like 0 speed on that Gyarados. Either way, in comes the Scizor, and I can easily just switch into Landorus T on this. He's probably going to Swords Dance, that's what I'm guessing. I could taunt him, but at the same time, maybe if he wants to knock off my leftovers, that could suck. I just want to keep Tapu Fini healthy as well. I can't really do much back except for Nature's Madness. Plus Landorus T is a pretty nice switch into Scizor to intimidate it, and just U-turn run out, and all that jazz and stuff. So he actually just goes for a Bullet Punch and takes Rock Helmet chips. That's pretty nice. Even though Landorus is not really dedicated switching or check to a Scizor, like you don't particularly want to stay in because they run max defense. I still just Earthquake him because I just wanted to see if he was going to Swords Dance or whatnot. Like I could easily just kind of take care of it with my team. So yeah, I just go back into Tapu Fini, as in came the Garchomp, and he just goes for a Dragon Claw. So Tapu Fini is pretty much going to wall this, so I thought, because he goes for the Ground EMZ. There's that Z move right there, and it's going to blow back my Tapu Fini because it's actually Ground EMZ. Usually you see Continental Crush or sometimes Dragonium Z, but most of the time you see Continental Crush on Garchomp. It is actually going to, I think, critical hit me, yeah. That's why it blew me back. I would live, I think, a Ground EMZ for sure, but when it critical hits me, I can't really do much back. So I brought in Thundurus just to hit and power Ice, but I actually did nothing. I don't know why I did nothing. I can't tell you for the life of me, but maybe I just had no EVs on Thundurus. Either way, at least I lived that Stone Edge from the Garchomp. Maybe it was like max attack, max special defense Garchomp. I can't tell you why. Maybe I wasn't even running Hidden Power Ice. Maybe I was like Hidden Power Dragon and this terrain weakened it or something. I don't think it weakens it when I'm a flying type though. Either way, Thundurus took a lot, but we still knocked out Garchomp. In came Tyranitar. I'm just going to go into Landorus T, as I can't really do much to the Tyranitar. I do have Electrium T on Thundurus, but it's not going to knock out Tyranitar with the Stand Up. So, plus Landorus is my kind of switch in, unless he's going to go for Ice Beam, which he could have, but I doubt he would. Anyways, in came the Scizor. I go for a nice Earthquake again, and it looks like Scizor is in range of another Earthquake, so that's pretty good. He just goes for the Bullet Punch just to weaken me a little bit more, but it doesn't barely do anything, and I knock out his Mega Scizor with the next Earthquake, so that's pretty good for me. And now Landorus T is looking pretty nice versus his team. As in comes the Gengar. He is just going to probably fire off a Shadow Ball. I'm going to keep my Landorus for that Tyranitar, and I'm going to go into Hoopa, as Hoopa does have really good special defense. I can probably take on a Gengar, unless it's going to be like Z-move Gengar, but I already showed a Z-move, so unfortunately it turns out to be maybe Choice Specs Gengar. That's also something I can't take care of. Gengar Z-move though is mostly common in the UU tier, that I've seen like Fight EMZ substitute Gengar a lot in the UU tier. It's pretty nice. Either way, down goes my Hoopa Unbound, which is fine. I didn't really need it too much anymore since I have Mega Glalie. And Mega Glalie can come in, take a hit, and knock out something. But he actually switches out, so he doesn't want to Shadow Ball me. In comes the Arcanine, Tony the Tiger, and this is actually a problem for Mega Glalie because it does intimidate me, lower my attack, and then Earthquake maybe can't knock him out. Maybe 2 Earthquakes, because Arcanine usually tend to be like max defense, something like that. But he could be offensive. And luckily, it turns out he is not running a lot of defense on the Arcanine. It's pretty offensive. He goes for the Extreme Speed as well. Does a nice chunk to me, but it is not going to be enough to knock out Mega Glalie, and I knock him out. But it probably puts me in range of a Shadow Ball from the Gengar, so that could be scary. Gengar just sweeping me, but he actually goes into Tyranitar, which is pretty nice because I can easily just Earthquake this and do a ton of damage, unless he's Choice Scarf Tyranitar, which he could be, but turns out he's not, so that's pretty nice. It's not going to do too much since I have -1 attack from that Arcanine's Intimidate, but at least it's putting in range of anything from maybe my Landorus' Earthquake or something like that. So he knocks me out with a Rock Slide. I mean, I didn't really need Glalie anymore since it was in range of Gengar Shadow Ball, so anyways, I bring in Jirachi and Jirachi's Choice Scarf, and I could easily just go for some Iron Heads and knock out some Pokemon. Unless that Gengar is Choice Scarf, but I mean, I don't think it does that much to Hoopa Unbound, so I know for a fact it's probably just Choice Specs. So, gonna go for Iron Head. It is not Choice Scarf Gengar, and it is going to just cleanly knock out that Gengar. So, that is gonna be a Judy versus Gavin right there. So, pretty nice so far. Next up, we got is versus Duskler, and looking at his team, he's probably got Mega Alakazam, I would assume. and just a bunch of other offensive threats. And defensive Zapdos probably, maybe a Stealth Rock, Tyranitar, Mimikyu, maybe just Life Orb, Haxorus, maybe Z-Move, Infernape, could be Choice Scarf. So we'll see versus him. So I'm kind of scared of that Mega Alakazam because it could have just a nightmare versus my team, but as long as I have Jirachi to like at least revenge, and also I still have Healing Wish on Jirachi as well, maybe I can bring a Pokemon back because that does come in handy a lot of the time. So he leads off Tyranitar as a lead off with Landorus T. He actually turns out to be Mega Tyranitar, so that kind of threw off my predictions. I was thinking, okay, what is the Alakazam? Is that going to be Focus Sash? That's what I was thinking. But either way, I go for U-turn because I can see if he's going to try and Ice Beam me, maybe. Unless he would be Choice Scarf Ice Beam, then that would blow me back. But either way, I bring in Tapu Fini, get that Mist Terrain up, and Tapu Fini can easily kind of take a hit from Tyranitar. If it's Dragon and Stone Edge, that could be a little bit annoying, but at the same time, Tapu Fini's bulky enough to take a hit. So he does just throw off these Stealth Rocks right there. Kind of a little annoying, but I mean, I could easily defog them as in comes to these Zapdos. It's a little threatening versus my team, but I can maybe deal with it. So we get rid of those Stealth Rocks for me. Could be good for not letting my Landorus T get chipped away since it doesn't have leftovers, it has Rocky Helmets, and there's no really way of me getting its HP back. So I need it to kind of wall at least a physical attack in Haxorus, a physical attack in Infernape. So keeping Landorus T is kind of healthy is kind of important, and also Tapu Fini as well. So I go to Hoop Unbound on the Zapdos because I predict a Discharge, something like that. Because usually Zapdos, that's what they run. They run like these bulky defensive Discharge sets. But luckily Mr. Train is up, and there's no way he can do that and paralyze me. But it actually turns out to be Life Orb Zapdos, and very, very bulky. So very surprised by that. Unfortunately, Hoopa Unbound does not get to do anything right there, so I'm going to switch out into my Thundurus, as I hope Thundurus can be able to take a hit, and it does, so I do pack the Electrium Z, and it should be able to easily knock out Zapdos from the range it's at, so I'm just going to go for that and knock him out. Kind of expect him to want to bring in Tyranitar on my Hoopa Unbound as well, so yeah. Zapdos is going to go down to this Thunderbolt Electrium Z. Also, Thundurus is running Sludge Wave and a Volt Switch, so that's pretty nice. Just get the heck out of there. You don't see Thundurus too much anymore, especially because there's Tapu Koko, stuff like that. Just a lot of faster Pokemon now that really threaten it, and with the lack of recovery, unless you're running a bulky Rest Thundurus. But anyways, in comes Mimikyu. That's pretty beautiful for me because I get to break its disguise with Volt Switch, so that's exactly what I do. And yeah, just bring in my Landorus T. He has a lot of physical attackers, so Landorus T is pretty important. But he just goes for the Swords and also it's Totem Mimikyu, so that's something to note. Hopefully it's not going to be Z-Move, as he actually Swords is up again on my Landorus T, so he's really just trying to break through something as I just go for an Earthquake. Mimikyu could have a shot to live an Earthquake, though, because, I mean, obviously you guys can see, I'm a bulky Landorus T. Yeah, that kind of rhymed, CT. Anyways, I sack Hoopa Unbound, and yeah, Mimikyu is going to just blow that thing back. Maybe he could have missed Play Rough, but either way, it doesn't matter because Mimikyu naturally outspeeds me. So he is Life Orb. I am packing that Ice Shard on Mega Glalie, though, and I could easily just knock out Mimikyu from the range it's at. And Mega Glalie always outspeeds Mimikyu. Unless you're not running max speed Glalie. Maybe you can want to run Adamant or, like, not max speed, I don't know. So either way, knock out that Mimikyu. It couldn't Shadow Sneak me because it's naturally just slower. In comes Alakazam, and honestly, I was just going to stay in because I wasn't really too sure what this Alakazam is. Like, is it Focus Sash? Is it what? I don't know. I'm just going to stay in and return it. As he actually goes for a Calm Mind, so maybe he expected me to switch out right there. I would assume. Maybe into Jirachi, so maybe he wants to go for a Shadow Ball Calm Mind, but my Jirachi's Choice Scarfed. And maybe I'll just Iron Head him twice and flinch him, so I don't know if it was the best bet. But he doesn't know if I'm Choice Scarf Jirachi. Most of the time they're bulky. Either way, it doesn't matter because Glalie just destroys it. And then in comes Tyranitar. Just go for an Earthquake. That does absolutely zero to that Tyranitar. So I was really surprised by that. And then he has Fire Punch and then almost knocks me out, but luckily I live even after Sand, but I am going to go down to the next round of Sand, so that's unfortunate, but at least Glalie knocked out Tyranitar. So Glalie put in some work here. Knocked out that Mimikyu, knocked out Alakazam, and then knocked out Tyranitar. So I love Mega Glalie, especially when it has spikes as well. But sometimes you might want to have Freeze Dry. I've ran Freeze Dry before with a Zera or a team, and sometimes you want Explosion because it can just KO them on. Either way, in comes Infernape. It's not over yet. He goes for the Swords, I guess, trying to sweep me, something like that. Either way, it doesn't work because I'm just going to Earthquake him and just blow back this Infernape. If he feels Focus Sash, it doesn't matter because the Sand is still up, and I think it stays up, and it will just knock him out, yeah. In comes the Haxorus, his last hope versus my team, which could maybe pull it off if somehow I choke away the game. But I'm not going to. I'm just going to stay in and go for an Earthquake, as he actually goes for Poison Jab. So I was guessing he's probably expecting me to go into Tapu Fini, and it makes sense because he is packing Dragonium Z. You guys will see he's going to go for it now, and he doesn't want to go for a Dragonium Z when I go into Tapu Fini, and that's just a waste. And then I live a Poison Jab, and then, you know, he doesn't knock me out. So I guess he was predicting Tapu Fini right there, but nope, I just stay in because Lander C was max defense, and I was pretty confident I could live anything. But there goes the Groundium Z. He is just going to kind of try and blow back my Lander C, but defense of Lando, you already know. It lives on 5 HP. And I get to Earthquake him and knock him out, so that's going to be GG. Maybe if he knocked out my Lando a long time ago with that Infernape instead of Swords Dancing. Well, he couldn't knock it out. Maybe if he weakened it for, like, Haxorus to Dragonium Z. Then maybe it could have pulled a shot, because maybe Haxorus can live a Moonblast, Dragon Dance up, Poison Jab, but, I mean, Jirachi outspeed, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, that's going to be a GG versus Duskler. Now, last game we got is versus Maddie versus Poipole. Wow, this is going to be fun. But still, scary team with Mimikyu, Tapu Lele, Jirachi, Mega Scizor most likely, and Gastrodon. So yeah, these are just old games, I don't know. Just uploading them. Never got around to uploading a lot of the OU battles I had. And might as well do it. Maybe you guys want to use a team. So, leads off with Gastrodon, which is always interesting. Lead as a lead off of Lander C, and I actually just stay in here because I remember looking at their team, I was like, yeah, Thundurus kind of just goes in, and Jirachi actually just goes in as well with Iron Head. So I was kind of hoping for that, and also, as long as I keep like something for their Jirachi, I'm pretty much Gucci, which is my Lander C, Rocky Helmet. So he Toxics me. Luckily, he didn't go for a Scald. I was kind of feeling he wouldn't go for a Scald because I have Tapu Fini, so that's why I was thinking he might just go for like an Earthquake. But Toxic wouldn't work on Tapu Fini, so yeah. Either way, I go into Glalie as he throws off a Scald right there. Luckily, it did not burn me, which is pretty nice. And I think I get a Spike up over here, so I was just trying to get my hazards up, just trying to go in, weaken everything, and just hopefully sweep. I don't know, with Jirachi. And also just weaken his Jirachi as well with all the hazards. That's the plan at least. And then hopefully Thundurus can come in and Electrium Z or something. Luckily, I do live that Scald after I Mega Evolve, so that's pretty nice, and I can get another Spike up. Too bad I'm not Freeze Dry. I mean, Gastrodon probably lives a Freeze Dry because they're usually like max special defense, so it doesn't even matter. But too bad I'm not, because I could probably two-shot the Gastrodon and knock it out. Maybe even one-shot if he's running a defensive Gastrodon, not a specially defensive one. So I bring in Hoop Unbound. It is going to be, you know, choice specs like I said, and it actually does not knock out Gastrodon. So yeah, that's probably a specially defensive Gastrodon for sure. They always run that for, you know, Ash Ninjas, Heatran, stuff like that. Although I think Gastrodon dropped down from OU to PU back, so maybe not a lot of people are going to get anymore recently in Showdown. Either way, I knock out the Gastrodon finally after he Toxics me, and yeah, Hoop Unbound is in, as he can bring in a lot of Pokemon to kind of deal with me. Like, he decides to bring in Scizor, he could have brought in Mimikyu, his Jirachi, U-Turn, Tapu Lele. Hoop Unbound's weak to a lot of things, so yeah, he Mega Evolves over here. I'm pretty much free to just stay in because I don't want him to set up a Swords Dance, and maybe I even live a Bullet Punch, so that's why I stayed in. And he actually doesn't, or she actually doesn't Bullet Punch me. She probably just clicked the U-Turn. Either way, it doesn't matter because I'm running max speed Hoop Unbound, and yeah, it should always outspeed Scizor because I think even if max speed Scizor doesn't outspeed max speed Hoop Unbound, I think it's like 70 something Scizor speed. Either way, I stay in again versus the Mimikyu. I don't want to Swords Dance, I don't want to break into the skies, but it's packing Leech Life, so didn't expect that. Anyways, I go into Jirachi, and I'm just going to go for the Iron Head and just try and flinch this Mimikyu, and hopefully it doesn't go for like a Shadow Claw and knock me out, because Jirachi's pretty important versus Tapu Lele, but she actually went for the Swords Dance, so that's beautiful for me. At the same time, though, Mimikyu does go for the Shadow Sneak and almost one-shot my Jirachi. I was like, oh, that is close. Luckily, he did not go for Shadow Claw, then Shadow Sneak. I don't even know if that can knock me out. Maybe it can. Either way, Jirachi knocks him out, and the Mimikyu out, and then in comes the shiny Jirachi. So I was like, oh no, is this going to be Z Happy Hour? I think that's a Jirachi, and it's raising all stats. That could be kind of scary. So I'm going to go into Lander C, intimidate it. That at least lowers a stat so that Jirachi can't be too much of a threat. But he actually just goes for the Iron Head. And yeah, that's pretty good for me, as, you know, takes out Rocky Helmets. I am taking toxic damage, but looks to be that Jirachi cannot do much back. So in comes Poipole, the threat in the OU tier. Whew, gotta be careful of this Pokemon, and it just goes down to an Earthquake. So, unfortunately, Poipole, maybe if it was Nasplat Violet, just couldn't do much. Maybe if Naganadel, your father, was back in OU, you could actually sweep like me pretty nicely. with Beast Boost. Luckily, that thing is gone. So, in comes Jirachi, and it's actually packing Ice Punch. I was like, oh, okay, that knocks out my Lander's T. So I'm guessing that's a Choice Scarf Jirachi, because he didn't really need to switch out unless he was locked into Iron Head. In comes the Thunderous. I'm just going to go for, I think, just a Thunderbolt. Yeah, just go for a Thunderbolt. That was really scary because Ice Punch literally almost knocked me out. I'm living on 2 HP. It critical hits me, so luckily it didn't freeze me. No more hacks today. In comes the top of Glalie, and hopefully it's not Choice Scarf, as I can just easily blow it back with an Electrium Z, and then hopefully win the game, which is going to be the case. I blow it back with an Electrium Z, so that's pretty nice. So Thunderous is pretty nice, mainly because I guess it has more special attack than Tapu Koko, so Electrium Z does do a little bit more, and it does have coverage like Sludge Wave, so you can hit Tapu Bulu, so that's something that Tapu Koko doesn't have. Tapu Koko does have Brave Bird, but, you know, you gotta like kind of mess around with that. Maybe you can run Electrium Z Wild Charge with Brave Bird. I think Tapu Bulu can even live a Brave Bird if it's at max speed, but it's not gonna live a Sludge Wave, so think about that. Anyways, that's gonna be it for the Wi-Fi battles. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, do your thing, and yeah, if you want to send me teams, my Smogon profile is in the description. That's where I get most of my teams. I want to use you guys' teams. This is just like some old battles I got stored away, so I might as well upload them and let you guys know that I am gonna probably do some Wi-Fi battle streams here soon for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So get your teams ready, and I'll see you there. And yeah, thanks for watching. Peace, peace. Have a good day. Bye.